Hi, welcome to another edition of Boardroom Buddha, a weekly podcast about entrepreneurs, startups, venture capital, and what were you thinking? I'm your host, Ray Appen, and today we're talking about a tech startup called It's My Town City App. With us today is founder and CEO of ITsimple and the driving force behind My Town City App, Ron Freeman. Welcome to the show, Ron.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ray. Thank you very much for having me this morning.
Well, I'm glad you came out. I've been hoping to get you on the show for a long time, so you're finally here.
I appreciate that.
So, you're living the dream. You're a techie, I presume. You had a vision. You saw an unlimited upside, so you went for it. But before we talk about your vision, which I'm very interested in, could you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself? Where you coming from? What brought you to Alpharetta? And I think you refer to yourself on your website as a serial entrepreneur.
I am, yes.
I'd love to hear a bit more about that.
All right, thank you. Definitely not my first rodeo when thinking about startups, but I will start a little bit about myself. So yes, I'll start with Alpharetta. Alpharetta, I can say I'm a proud immigrant. Originally, my story starts all the way back in Israel.
Okay.
Most of my professional career, I was working for corporate America, starting with Motorola, later on with Symantec, cybersecurity, and latest was Hewlett-Packard.
Okay.
And funny thing is that when I was still in Israel, I was actually traveling a lot to the United States, and offers kept coming. Relocation here, relocation there, and at some point we just decided as a family it might be time for us, because I was spending a lot of time in the United States at that point. So we decided to go ahead. There you go. That's how my story with Alpharetta starts. A friend of mine says, "Hey Ron, I know you guys are about to actually relocate." For us, the city we're just about to move to was Palo Alto. I guess Bay Area or Silicon Valley would be my natural habitat. I have a lot of friends there, obviously working for large American corporations in the past. So I'm like, all right, where do you want to go? And he said, I want you to we're considering moving to Georgia. I'm like, where's Georgia? I wasn't sure at that point, because most of my travel was to obviously New York City, Silicon Valley, Las Vegas, where I was giving talks around technology. One thing led to another. I said, I've never been. He said the magic word Atlanta. I said, I've never been. I'll take the tour. Coca-Cola, just like everyone else internationally.
Now, how long ago was this? About
6 years ago.
Okay.
Not that long ago.
Okay.
So we took a trip here. We actually, funny thing is, long trip. We landed here. That was March 2013, and just I guess everyone remembers 2014 was a bad winter here in Georgia. So for me, that was Alpharetta. By the way, getting here wasn't a love from first sight.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Too dark.
I'm glad you didn't turn back, though.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. It was too dark, too cold, and too hilly for me. But since Georgia is Georgia, and the day after, I was already planning actually to shorten my trip here. And, I made my mind, and I said, I moved my family. We already set, Palo Alto, and probably that's what we should do. But then the day after, sun was shining, and, I said, I'll give it a chance. And then, I really opened myself up to this place. And I guess some of the things that brought us here was this beautiful city, great, I think, national-wide school system.
Yep.
Greenway, city events, shopping opportunities, entertainment opportunities, sports everywhere. I guess, and I think the most important thing were the people. I think Georgia, and I'm proud to say that I think Georgia is really one of the last places. I mean, and I traveled internationally. One of the last places in the world when you get out of, I don't know, a shopping mall or something, people will still hold the door for you when you exit.
I've never really noticed that before, but I wouldn't dream of not opening the door for someone, and I believe my kids are the same way. I just never thought about it, really.
You should visit New York City more often.
Well, they say Southern hospitality. I guess there is something to that, I suppose.
I'm positive, and we're traveling, and we really love the Southeast. That's from my personal perspective. I have two girls, both of them off-road raiders. Volleyball, we go to the local high school, the public high school, public elementary school. We've been through the public middle school. I have no regrets thinking of I can't think of anywhere else where I would like to retire later on. I start to think about my personal interest, career, and technology. And I guess we have the reputation of being the technology city of the South, and Georgia, by all means. I do believe that there's a huge need for technology and huge need for innovation in that perspective. And I hope that kind of summarizes.
Okay, no, that's a great summary. Now, I've got to ask. It comes to me. Did you think Amazon was coming here? I did.
Yes. So I was more in the nose because one person on my technical advisory board he works for Amazon.
Okay.
So I had some inside information. I wasn't sure, but also thinking of my personal opinion, I was kind of in split between do we want to be as busy as other places that I travel to. And Silicon Valley is a great example. It's really, it's blasting. It's faster. The cadence different. I'm not sure if we wouldn't lose some of the local charm that we have here. So I try to keep my
keep it in balance.
Correct.
Okay. Correct. Well, I would have bet just about anything that I bet you we were close.
Yes.
Maybe in the top 5. I'm guessing, perhaps, but.
We were for sure. They had everything. This area, Georgia, Atlanta, and our entire area. We have everything they could possibly want.
Yeah, the international airport, the universities, the tech,
Georgia Tech. A lot of smart people around us. I meet a lot of these people. Part of me being a board member with Winnet Tech as an example. So there's a lot of people that really want to do more in terms of technology. So as you said, yes, we have everything they needed.
We're an entrepreneur's city.
Correct.
No doubt. So it's my town.
Yes.
Let's talk about your app. I'm all ears.
All right.
I want you to let us know what it is and what it does and why we need it.
Well, hopefully, knowing a little bit about, more about my background gives the bridge to It's My Town. As an immigrant to this country, not even just the state, because a lot of people here in the U.S. are also, changing states pretty often, following work, following their dreams, following, many different things. So for me, moving over, starting a life from scratch was really important to. First of all, get involved in the community. I needed to find, medical providers, activities for the girls, education system, entertainment, everything. And it felt like there's so many tools, so many different things, so many, you're just like anyone else. What do? You Google things. So
Right.
That's what I did. I Googled things, and Google in many cases they don't, you get a lot of results. A lot of them are not structured. By that I mean I'm not trying to be technical at all, but one result has a phone number, the other one doesn't have.
Yeah, it drives me crazy.
There you go. You get a lot of outdated results too. I get, I was looking, and I have a few stories I'm happy to share. I was looking for a place to run back in the days, and I'm looking for a running track. And that brings up, I know, Webbridge Park. I live in Windward. It brings up Webbridge. Well, Webbridge Park is a lot of things, but it's definitely not a park for running.
Right.
I'm not big on funny things. A lot of people will say, my natural thing after Googling stuff, I'll go on social media. Being 15 years cybersecurity and about 20 years in IT, but let's put it this way: social media will not be my first place to go to.
I actually killed my Facebook about a year ago.
There you go.
It's scary. It's a bit scary.
It's very scary. especially, there's a lot of unintended, things you can do online without being actually conscious about
Yeah.
what exactly the risk is. So for me, just, finding, but I do want to interact with my community. I live here now. So what I've done, I'm a big fan of Steve Jobs. I start making phone calls. I start to meet some of my neighbors in my community, and I ask them, hey, you guys, did you know, as an example, there was Mother's Day, a city event in the ACC, Alfreda Community Center. That was great, So my three girls registered themselves immediately. They went there, and when they're back, I'm looking at some of the pictures, great pictures, cupcake decoration, kind of workshop with their mother. That was great. But then I'm asking them, so where's all the people? And the event was pretty empty.
Yep.
And so I started interviewing some of my neighbors. And, one of my neighbors, they're from Texas. They have 4 girls. The other neighbors, they're from New York. I mean, they have 2 girls. And, another family, they came from Boston. So I'm asking them, I said, hey, did you guys know about that event? And like, no, we didn't know. Because that's the thing. As said, for me, too many tools. Google was unstructured, too many results. Social media, I'm not a fan, because I understand the risk. And also there are certain capabilities that definitely not there. But I do want to interact. I do want to be involved in my community. I do want to hear from a familiar or a
Source.
reliable source, which is my city. I trust my city. That's where I chose to live. That's where I pay my taxes. That was basically the
You
point.
identified. So the need was to create an app that would help people know what's going on, where they can plug in, how they can engage. Is that fair?
Fair enough. Connecting city and community. That's
Okay.
our mission statement. And vision statements really simplifying people everyday life. I'd rather not spend, especially nowadays when the technology is out there. You said find, Ray. So with us, it's not just finding. It's actually taking actions based on what you found. And I'll give you a good example. For me, finding a restaurant on Google, it's not it's not enough. I want to be able to push the button, call for to reserve a table, and I want to be able to push the button so my GPS will prompt automatically and will navigate me there, actually navigate me to the nearest public parking space.
Okay.
So I can safely park there in somewhere that I can actually leave my car and go and go to dine with my family. So to me, it's really, that all connects to the bigger vision of simplifying people everyday life. It's not just about finding, no more copy paste, searching, Googling things and just, copy paste stuff. Sometimes just that doesn't copy well. And I don't know if you ever tried to text an address. If you're using an Android device, it will.
Drives me nuts.
There you go. It will send somebody coordinates, not even an address, like a human. Just more like a military maneuver than just an address, because that's how the Google JavaScript works. So for me, it was more than just connecting city and community. The bigger vision is really simplifying people's everyday life, which, by the way, I think one of the most important things that we're doing, we're not collecting any personal information. We're
Okay.
not required.
Good for you. I applaud that.
I'm cybersecurity. I would never do, and as long as I own this thing, I would never do to other people what I don't want people to do or companies to do, to do to me. So there's no registrations needed. People love that. By the way, we don't know who you are. We don't know what's your number. We don't know what's your email. We don't connect who your friends are. We don't know, what's your medical providers, and because we don't it's as simple as it goes to the fact that we don't monetize that.
Okay. We'll get to that at some point about how you're going to make money off this. So I think, pretend that we are, I'm not sure that someone who has never seen your app still has a real clear picture of what's on your app and what it does. I get what you just said, but can you?
Yes.
Let's go a little bit more into it, because I think it's let's pretend we have an audience that's never seen it and really has no clue. So what does it do?
Fair game. So I will start with saying it's not an app.
Okay.
It's really a platform. We created a content management system for mobile. Now, we're talking about our audience now. For our audience, yes, the part they see is really the city app. But the city app, what the missing part that, it's not in the public eye, is basically that the app is updated by the city at all times. It's a real-time platform for a city to actually push news items, services directory, city events. Obviously, this is definitely one of the biggest, if not the biggest, anchor to use the app. So basically, it's all things a city, in our case, the city of Alpharetta, in one place. So you would find the city events, the local news, the general news, just like yourself. Because I am interested to find all these things. And I think that the way we think as residents, as good residents of the world, is we do want to interact with our city. And most of us, by the way, and please correct me if I'm wrong, we would like to, normally we actually, we will stay within 5 to 10 miles radius from where we live, unless
Most people,
we're binded to commute for work.
Sure.
And this is what we do. We bring all cities, all things city in one place: the city events, the activities, the local businesses, the restaurants, everything that you can think of interacting with your community, entertainment, fun, family friendly, all in one place.
Okay, so that was going to be one of my questions, so I'll go ahead and ask it now. So the app is it's a way primarily for a city to disseminate what's going on in its city.
Mobile.
Okay, so that could be a good thing and a bad thing, because what I'm thinking is one of the most difficult things about any website or any internet entity is keeping it updated. Mm-hmm. So have you been able to automate I'm just sitting here thinking of these the people working for the city, maybe the clerks, maybe in this the police department, sitting, I've got to update it's my city app today, and I've got all this other stuff. What have you figured out a way to automate that to, which I think maybe is a big piece of the puzzle?
This is a beautiful question, Ray. This is the $1 million question. Call it, in the technical word, we call it our data sources.
Okay.
So it's actually, my answer will be divided. For the most of it, so for the local businesses and everything, we're fully automated. We're crawling the web. We built hooks. We're using APIs. We built tons of technology. So basically, the city doesn't need to maintain let's put it this way, every other day, if a business changes their phone number. Once they put the new phone number somewhere online, either on their social media accounts or anything, we get it. So for the local, for the things that change fast, I mean, we are fully automated. For the things that the city would like to, just like outbreaking news or real-time alerts in that perspective. Real-time alerts is big. When I get when I get the push notification saying that now, they're blocking Kimball Bridge Road because the public works there, I want to know about that. I live in Windward. This is important for me. So the answer is yes. And just to finalize that part of, just like cities have websites, and they always did, and this is actually serves exactly what where we come to play. Websites actually doesn't provide the user experience as mobile apps. Mobile apps are complicated, and a lot of cities were shy or failed to start mobile apps because it requires technical skills. In our platform,
ongoing technical skills.
Absolutely right. In our platform, there's no technical skills needed. We created a secured web-based portal for the city. By the way, logging in is just like logging into your bank account or to Chase, as an example. Multi-factor authentication. I don't want to get too technical, but for a city, as you said, city clerk or the communication department or Parks and Rec for the city events, it's as simple as just go and post something on your personal Facebook account if you had one.
Okay.
If I may add, as last piece of that, and to reduce, and a lot of people doesn't even know that, to reduce the number of data sources for cities to push content to, because we can say a lot of things about social media, but it's not going anywhere, right? It might shift a little bit, it might get smaller, but it's not going anywhere. It's there. So the city now with our platform, they can even push the same notifications or news item with a tap through my portal to all different platforms. And
including social
media, including Twitter,
Okay.
including Facebook. So now the city actually has a choice, because social media in many ways can also backfire. We all know that. Sometimes I'm not sure we're even saying things that we are not sure about what the response is gonna be on social media. Now the city, just like always had their websites, now they have the app. So the app will be their first go-to. We can always respond. We can always send an email back by just pressing a button, which automate this email back to the right person at the city hall. But they can now decide if they want to push 3 ways or just 1 way or 2 way. They have all this power at the tip of their fingers using our portal.
So I've got to ask, who at the city was most excited about this? I mean, I'm sure some folks are going, yeah, and others are going, oh my gosh.
Yes.
I mean, was there any department or anyone in particular who you reached out to who just embraced this? I mean, I see the possibilities, but I'm sure some saw it and others didn't.
Fair question. Well, I was warned that you're going to ask me all the hard questions today. Fair question. So yes, anything new when you're trying to change, I don't think we're changing behaviors, just shifting modes a little bit. Going through the future. And as I said, I'll try to keep it as not technical as possible. But back to your question, we're learning more and more that, I believe it really starts with elected officials. Elected officials are us. At least I would like to believe so, right? We elected them. They represent us as the people that live here. And I do see them to be the first enthusiastic crowd in terms of, you know what, that makes sense. As a resident, I would love to have this. As a resident, this is basically how it starts. Yes, city staff, they're busy. They are the people that go there every day. They start very early in the morning, I learned, unlike us techies. And they really are the people that actually make all this happen. So
are they the people that work for the city,
staff,
the elected?
Of course, the administration, the staff, communication department, and I see that with different cities too. We're talking to more and more cities nowadays. So yes, but back to your question. So I guess we see, and by the way, a lot of cities does have their technology liaison, as the council member covers technology. So for me, once we got that guy on board, they see it because they understand what a content management system for mobile is, how hard it was. Because with mobile, you need to go through Apple review for anything you need to want to change. So we actually solved all that within our platform.
So
elected officials.
Okay, fair enough. So I guess one of my other questions. Okay, so this could be huge. I mean, if it works in this city, and I guess I know you're talking to other cities, and it works like you think it should and can. I mean, the world's your oyster. I mean, it could explode. What have you seen so far? What is? I mean, you're 2 years into this now. You wrote code for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
You launched, I want to say 6 to 9 months ago in Alpharetta. What has worked the way you thought it would, and what has not?
Yeah.
At this point,
I'm a transparent person. We provide, by the way, part of the platform. The city gets, they get the analytics. So as I said, when you say analytics, a lot of people say, "Oh, they have analytics." The guy just said that they don't collect any. That's true. We don't collect personal information, but once a person using a smartphone, there's a term that we call aggregated data. And yes, we do collect aggregated data.
The amount of traffic.
Correct.
And,
yes.
Not necessarily
device data. Yes.
Specifically who
Correct.
it is, but
so what makes data personal? It's when we can connect number, email, device to a person. We don't do that. But aggregated data, yes, absolutely. We know that our city events is one of the most popular, sections in the app. We know how much, people love the restaurants. We see the spikes every time when the city kind of pushes, information, important information, to the app. So, bringing it all together, for me, yes, Alfreda was just the start. And here's some of the milestones. Yes, we wrote code about, I would say, 14 months before we even launched the company.
Okay.
That's my 5th startup. Most of the other 4 were out of, overseas. 2 failed, 2 were successful. Otherwise, you never learn.
Hey, you got to fail in a lot before. I know there's a saying about Thomas Edison. He said he never failed. He just didn't get the right solution.
Correct.
Many times.
And you asked what was the, where the good things or where things that we would do differently. So here's the stats. We launched about, that was May, just before the last elections. We were on the App Store with It's My Town Alfreda as our beta app. That was for the event in 4th of July. And I'm not shy saying now we're in the thousands. And we really spent very little, if anything, on marketing. And you can ask me, Ron, what are the things you asked? What are the things you did right? What are the things you did wrong? So I started a team. We called it a download team. We participated in all the city events. I sent, some of them were my girls' event. We were talking to the street. We went to talk to the people. We asked them, what do you like to see in a city app? You think that a city app will make sense to you? That was, I think, one of the most important things that we've done. And we see, by the way, sometimes when there's a public hearing in the city hall and, in the city, I don't know, it's kind of late to publish that on the app, even just remind, because this is their reminder. The city app is the reminder, is the planner for the weekend. Mayor Gilvin mentioned, called it Alfreda in your pocket.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So that was part of the things that we did right. Some other things that we would probably change is, yes, we changed it, focus a little bit because, we're still small. We're still a startup.
And did you start up in the Tech Alpharetta, by the way?
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
so you were working with Karen and...
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm still active, an active member of the technology community in this city. Technology is important for me, and I know it's power. I know, the things that we can do leveraging technology. So the answer is yes, we're still building. By the way, I don't know if it's, it's not part of, but It's My Town is really, the very first milestone that we created. We're just about next month to launch our firefighters app, which is for the fire departments. We have a police app coming. What we do, the area that we focus here, it's called Civic Tech Solutions.
Civic Tech, I like that.
Correct. I hope that kind of answers, your question about, yes, we, shifted more and more focus as we grew. But from the perspective of It's My Town, we grew fast. We're in the thousands now. And we're very, very happy with, in terms of, people adopting the app.
Progress up to this point.
Correct.
So one of the things, and you'll please forgive me, I think time is such a commodity, and I'm no exception. I have so many things I want to do, and I have limited time. So I am not as familiar with your app as I would like to be. And after this interview, I'm going to become more familiar with it. So my apologies.
All right.
But one of the questions I've got is, you and I spoke a little bit before we started the show about Nextdoor, and one of the things that occurred to me, one of the things about Nextdoor that really inspires me, and it also, I'll just leave it at that. It inspires me, is that it is so sticky that people are talking to each other, and it's like it has taken a life of its own, and it almost creates its own. It creates its own content, and then it's disseminated among the users. And I see that working. I remember years ago in Alpharetta, there was a city council person who 15 years ago had a great email list, and he used it like a club to get his agenda across, and it was very effective. And Nextdoor reminds me of that a little bit, because I just see so much activity within the community So my question, Ron, to you is how engagement is there that factor in your app? Is there a lot of push that the app sends out, or are there ways in the main app? I mean, I'm thinking with the firefighters or possibly the safety, there may be more two-way communication. But right now, in it's my town city app, is there that interconnectivity, I guess I would say, function?
Beautiful question again. I will start with saying it's all about focus. We're not a social media platform. That wasn't our intention. And by the way, by all means, if you're a business person, you know that there are some bigger players there for a new startup to try and entertain that area.
Nextdoor has raised $300 million.
I know.
I mean, it's.
I know. I think, by the way, so thinking about Nextdoor for a second, and I'll address your question about bidirectional.
And I mean, we're more interested in It's My Town City app, and I apologize for bringing up Nextdoor.
No. That's a fair question. I get it sometimes, but especially when people, all they know is the city app part of, of our doing, because as a resident, as a visitor of this town, which by all means, also, our convention visitors bureau was a great, great support, still great support for us. They saw it from the first point. But just go back to your question. So one thing I would say, focus. We're not a social media. Platform. And the second one, I think one of the biggest challenges Nextdoor has is really, the address verification. If you're not owning a house, actually, if you're just a tenant, if you're just, just renting somewhere, you cannot use Nextdoor. And also, and just to summarize it all, yes, It's My Town allows bidirectional information. We're building more and more into that. One of the capabilities that we're planning to open within Alfredo first is really the 311 reporting mechanism, right? Potholes, streetlights doesn't work.
Okay, I like that. That's a cool function.
It's already there. We just, working now we're working on a part that, to connect with the city side of things, because it should be part of their ticketing system and all that type of thing. But it's there. Another function that we're bringing up is polls. Now, if the city brings a new, think about new movie night, right, for the kids in Mills Park. So they, instead of just bringing them, just selecting the movie for us, they can send 3 options, and you can just push the button, and they can now bring the right movie based on votes. Another one is
I like it. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Another one is RSVP.
What is that? I saw that and I wasn't sure.
So we're connecting now. The city actually can go log in a portal and see when people actually putting the RSVP, you say number of adults, number of kids, they can better prepare for city events. Fire department, police, they have, because we don't register people, so we won't tell them, we won't tell the city who the people are, but they have a good ballpark of numbers. They can have a good ballpark of numbers, how many people are planning to attend an event.
Okay, so it's like the Outlook function where you set up a meeting,
yes,
and it puts it on your calendar, or it kind of.
It's exactly that. When you save an event, a city event on It's My Town, it will save it to your calendar app on your phone. Depends if you're Android. Right. So we are integrated. By the way, that's the power of mobile. And that's a great point too, because when I said take actions, we're integrated with Uber, with Lyft, with your calendar app, with your call app. So you don't need to copy paste or go out and back into the app in order to do something. So back to your question, yes, we are bringing more and more bidirectional. Also through the app, by the way, I don't know, we have the services directory there. You can push the button and start an automated email from your phone directly to the person. And let me give you a good story. I wanted to add a bedroom to my house.
Perfect.
All right. I want to add a bedroom. Change something. Well, I know some people in the city, that's true now, but when I wanted to do that, I didn't know that many people. And also even now, I don't know what to do. So I went on the city app, because I would say that people just not going to, city websites for fun nowadays. You just don't do it unless the app brings you, the businesses, value.
An answer to some question you're looking to solve.
Correct. Absolutely. Educating or actually, we look for interests. So this, back to my story, I wanted to add a bedroom to my house. I didn't even know where to start, being honest. So what I did, I went to the city app. I went to the city services directory. There's a search, by the way, there's a search bar there. It's, keyword search bar. You can talk to it too. So it
Okay.
supports voice because it's native. It's on the phone. So it's voice recognition too. And I pressed the little mic button there and I said build. And all of a sudden, a list of, I don't know, 300 people working in the city of Alpharetta, I got 3 names. And I said, you know what, just push the email button there. It already automated an email to the exact person that I needed. I got an email back the day after with
From someone from planning and zoning, or from
permitting.
Okay.
From permitting.
Okay.
The answer is absolutely yes. From the city hall, from permitting, the exact guy that I needed in order to, take my project to the next step.
Wow. That's great utility. City's got to like that. Well, I mean, yeah, you would think they would love it, and I'm sure they probably.
Yep.
Overall. Okay, fabulous. So engagement is a moving. It's a moving target, and keeping engaged. And one of the ways you're enhancing engagement is providing increasing amount of utility and functionality to the site. Why don't let's talk a little bit about marketing, because I know in my notes I said, you're an entrepreneur, you've come up with the idea. Did you write most of this code yourself? I mean, I'm sure you didn't write it all, but you probably wrote a good piece of it. So you've created the app, and now you got to take it to market. The obvious step is you were working with the city of Alpharetta. Now that's been your beta. So now you want to roll it out to maybe other cities. What does that look like? That's a really hard step for so many entrepreneurs, I think, is they create the better mousetrap, and now they got to take it to market.
Correct.
And that's a whole different animal.
So for your question, yes, we're still bootstrapping. So I'm self-funded. Probably if I wasn't, so I guess three additional salespeople would, couldn't hurt. But the answer is yes. We get a lot of incoming, but we're very focused again. We have a sales strategy that I'm probably stating Georgia first.
Okay.
So we are responding to incoming. I think I can name, we got a couple of cities, Florida, a couple of cities in Virginia, because the word's already out there. But we're pursuing Georgia first, because I work, live, and play here. I do want to make for my state first. As you said, yes, startup still. So, all of us are doing pretty much everything. You'll be amazed. So I find myself some days, I do legal marketing. Yes, I join the download team when I need to speak to the people, out there, the markets. So yes, that's always a hurdle. And I think I'm the biggest bottleneck at this point, which is, that's how startups, I mean, as said, this is not.
That often happens with startups. The guy that was the creative genius and everything is.
Correct. But
at some point has to switch hats or bring that hat on board.
Correct. And by the way, lots of cities here in Georgia, we're traditional here. So they're parking. They want to see if we're going to be there next year. They want to see, who's the next. And hopefully I have some good surprises coming, because as I said, we're growing and the platform's growing. And we see, a lot of growth in multiple different, areas of the platform. So just to go back to your question, how does it look like? So we joined GMA, which is the Georgia Municipality Association organization. We're a Silver Alliance with them now. We're going to participate their, annual convention in Savannah this year that comes up June this year. We're launching the Firefighters app with GAFC, which is the Georgia Fire Chiefs Association, actually the 31st of this month.
Okay.
In Savannah. We're going to join some of the, events for the communication departments, CVBs too, because I didn't even mention that. We just digitalized, all the tours, the city tours that we have in Alpharetta as an example, the arts tour, the arboretum tours with our CVB. So that's also a venue. But as you see, it's all under the civic tech solutions, or solutions for cities or towns or counties.
Yeah, and I think that it sounds like the word you may backdoor somewhat getting the word out, because if you're joining these associations, which cross state, are intrastate and interstate, then as organically your word can get out.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is, you know what the funny thing is, Ray? We joined GMA. I normally, so I spoke to them myself instead of just online registration and whatnot, because I want to know the people I work with, where I put my trust, where I put my dollars, right? And they liked our story, they liked the concept, and they actually asked us to write an editorial for them.
Okay.
Because it's unique, it's new. Yes, we might, it's a little different that people, used to communicate to their communities. And there's a lot of concerns there too. As I said, social media is just one thing, but, there's another new trend. We call it IoT, or Internet of Things, right? Smart cities. We serve that trends too. And all these trends actually bring what we call the app spiral. Even when we say go mobile, how many apps you think you can interact with? So cities would need their own app, their own platform, because all you want to promote is your own. Just like a city promotes their website, they will promote their mobile app, especially now that they need absolutely zero technical skills in order to have one or maintain one.
And in addition, I think, in my opinion, this may be your crowning accomplishment. If your app, if It's My Town City app provides its own information, fairly automatically, that's huge. I mean, that's maybe the biggest obstacle you have to overcome trying to create an app for a municipality. Is they're asking themselves, do I have the staff to keep it updated, to keep it current, so we don't look like, we don't look bad because we got dated information out there. But it sounds like you've solved that.
We solved that, and I think we're even saving some of time for them, because as said, they can push from single source now pretty much to anything mobile. And by the way, good stat, for to mention here is, by 2020, 82% of Americans will use their mobile devices for internet first. I mean, our entire online engagements today, we shop, we date, we bank, we navigate, we remind ourselves, we do pretty much everything on mobile. Mobile is here.
I would Are you tracking that on your analytics? And the only reason I bring that up is we're doing some email marketing for retailers, and one of the things that has surprised me in that is the relatively low percentage of mobile that the analytics show are being used for the
retailers.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just I just assumed it would. That's all you hear is everything's going to smartphones. But I guess what I'm saying is I'd watch that, because if what I'm doing is any indication, that may not be true across the board always.
So here it is. I'm not sitting here saying that mobile's gonna take traditional desktop or website out of the park. Actually, we are doing a lot of our portal, as an example, is a web app, is a website, right? Although it's very mobile friendly, but it's still a web app in that perspective. I mean, when the city uses the portal to push the information to
they're doing it from desktops, probably.
Correct. Yep. But they can do it from mobile in that perspective too. But mobile is, by all means, and I read so many books and articles about users' behavior. I'm in product the last 15 plus years, right? Mobile is the biggest traffic enabler, to websites or to desktops. By all means, if you really need to, kind of dive in or work on a huge spreadsheet, you would still probably do it on your desktop, right? Although today, my iPad Pro, I have all the capabilities that I used to have on my PC back in the days, right? Or my Mac.
Sure.
So, but to your question, it's going to coexist, but the ratios are definitely gonna change. Certain things, by the way, even we're building. There's next generation technologies for websites too. The latest buzz around us nowadays, everything's responsive.
Sure.
By the way, a lot of people doesn't know that response is already, in a way, I don't want to say outdated, but there's also already in place the next gen technology.
So what are they calling
It's called
that?
progressive.
Progressive.
Yes, and by the way, this is how we developed. This is how we automated. This is how we automated city tours for the CVB, as an example.
So what do you say automated this? In other words, someone can use your app and take one of the tours?
It's going to be the CVB's app, and yes, take one of the tours. It will walk you from landmark to landmark. Will give you the story. It will show you the picture, and
that's huge.
Thank you, sir. Absolutely, it is, and we have like 6. I didn't even know that, but CV is like, Ron, we have like, I think 4 Arboretum tours at all times in Alfreda. We have an arts tour. We have a history walk. We have, and I'm like, let's digitalize that. Even the events that we have, events with multiple stages or locations, instead of walking, with paper maps in the dark, don't see where you're going, and use your phone as a flashlight. Maybe it's a better idea to use your phone as the navigation, as the navigation app. So back to your question, yes, we are on top of that technology. And this is, I think, my biggest silver bullet. When I speak to more and more cities, municipalities, or civic, right, buyers, that's how we call them. Nowadays, so I said, because a lot of them, I understand, part of my pitch is really, I understand that mobile's complicated. I understand why you didn't do it so far. But this is exactly where we come to play. They need absolutely no, they need to spend no efforts, no
servers. It needs to be turnkey.
It is turnkey. It's a platform. It's subscription based. All they bring is content.
Okay. So that brings me over to how are you going to make your money on this? And I want to guess it'll be cities will pay a fee, and primarily it'll be some sort of a subscription business model.
Correct.
Something like that.
Correct. It's a subscription based. It's a SaaS, software as a service platform. We are cloud based too, by the way. We're really using, again, I don't want to use anything technical, but we're using the latest and greatest, by all means, from programming languages to frameworks to, that's how we can do certain things that a lot of, I haven't seen any alternate. Nobody really took the concept of a city and brought it all together. At least I didn't see it anywhere else. So the answer is yes. The thing is, we will keep it up to date every time. By the way, I don't know if a lot of people think about that, but like iPhone just launched, the X series, okay. XR, X, XS. It changes the entire thing on the user perspective because there's no app buttons anymore. So even as a user, it changes a lot. Just imagine yourself, Ray, how many things it changes on the developer side of things.
I can't.
There you go.
Oh my gosh.
So that's the beauty of it. Now cities can have their own apps. And in the app sprawl world, they can promote one app that's going to use as the platform for pretty much everything they would like. We can put the Greenway mobile tool there. We can put the electric bikes. We can put, electric shuttles.
Sort of like a what do you call it? Like a Swiss Army knife for
yes
technology.
The answer is yes.
And
for its focus.
Well, it's like you said, it's the platform.
It's a platform.
It's a platform for that helps a city provide services really to its residents.
Controlled. Control. They have full control on their part on where they actually push the content out, right? And they can say, yeah, you know what? Now, I can actually push everything to people mobile so they get it proactively, even when the app is closed. Okay. People don't use it, but they get the push notification from the city. As said, it's reliable, it's official. I mean, in my user groups that we started, when we started, we had the user groups and stuff. That was a no-brainer.
Okay, so we need to wrap this up just a little bit. I do have 1 or 2 more questions real quick. Like what are the top 3, when you're looking at your analytics, what are the top 3 uses of the apps at this point? I'm just out of curiosity.
I would say push notifications is huge. Only because every time that people see stuff that they saw on maybe social media, maybe in city website, and it's not there for them, push to the app. So we hear from them. City events, huge.
Okay.
Huge. By all means, it's really becomes more and more. We see that.
So are you saying that people are going to the calendar functionality of the app to see what's going on and where and when?
Exactly. It will sort all the city events, in a timely order from the closest to us, date-wise to the to the furthest. But correct. And they can now save. They push the button. It will save automatically to their calendar. There's a story there too. I missed, touch a truck one year. I think it was 4 years ago with my youngest. She wanted to go touch a truck. She asked me. I said, "Well, go." Obviously, I'm busy. I'm working. I forgot. I'm like, I saw that on the newspaper, right? Might even be yours. But, I just forgot to put it on my phone, to remind me and actually take action based on that event. So the answer is yes. That's why we put a lot of power there too. Now people can, by a touch of a button, they can share a city event. They can invite from their calendar a friend from a different town to join, I don't know, Blue Moon.
Okay.
Right? As an example, Wire and Wood, that perspective. So yes, city events will be
push
different.
Notifications,
city events, and people love the restaurants.
Are there reviews, or is it subjective or objective information on the restaurants, or just directional?
Correct. For the time being, it's really just directional. You can push the button, reserve your table, and you can, by pushing the button, you can go to the website, see the menu. But by all means, we do have requests for doing more, as you say, be directional. But I'm very cautious with that because I'll try to be not too bold here, but Yelp doesn't have a great reputation about what people putting on reviews. So we're very cautious. If we will bring
reviews, can be
exactly so
questionable.
We're thinking to bring star ratings or something that perspective, so people can really, you like something, so you actually rate it. But I'm not sure if we're going to open it up. As said, we're very cautious, and it wasn't our initial. We're not going to turn ourselves to be a social media platform.
Probably not a bad idea.
Thank you.
So last question, Ron, and I appreciate your patience here. I always like to close out a show with any little pieces of advice that you would give to someone who's in corporate, who's thinking of getting out and trying to start their own business or their own tech startup, or possibly a student who's getting ready to graduate and instead of jumping into corporate is thinking of trying to do their own. Any words of wisdom?
Yes. First of all, thank you. Yeah, and I think I can give words of wisdom, maybe because I did both.
Okay.
I think you can only give good advice if you try. Some people, hey, do you like Android better than iOS or vice versa? So you have your opinions, but if you actually didn't use both platforms, like actually used it for your everyday, for 6 months in a row, you don't really know because you don't really have a sense of it. My only advice is never give up. Trust me, every other day, you are being, yes, especially if you have a new cool idea. I'm in the government space. I knew that. Our former mayor, by the way, he said, "Ron, you're entering a very interesting, long sales cycle, changing." I understand that, but I'm here for the long run. And, making a change doesn't happen overnight. So never give up. There's no one day that, I just I'm working on my taxes now, just like everyone else. I'm looking, on, let's put it this, 6 figures investments. And, I'm like, wow, I could do a lot with
what I've just put into this. Yeah.
Correct. So, but never give up. I believe in the bigger picture. I am, I want to believe that I walk the walk. I don't talk the talk. I want to see, we are simplifying people everyday life by connecting city and community. We make IT simple.
I got it. Well, thank you so much, Ron. Thanks for being on the show, and we'll look forward to following your progress of It's My Town City app. Ron's app is available on iTunes and Android, or you can go to his website
or city website,
or the city website, ITsimple.com. Thank you for being on the show, and as I said, we look forward to following your progress.
Thank you very much, Ray.
So, the App and Podcast Network now has 12 different weekly shows and more coming every month. For a full list of our shows or to listen to a show, go to northfulton.com/podcasts. Sponsorship opportunities for our podcast are available, as well as custom podcasts and more from Appen Media Group, Appen Podcast Network. Just call us at 770-442-3278, 770-442-3278. Or if you forget the number, you can always go to our website, northfulton.com. Don't miss out.